Hello. I just finished watching the Twitch Presents Doctor Who marathon, and it ended with Survival. And it's been on for quite a long time. And this is not my first time watching the classic series. I'd like to say this is my second full run through. This is the first time I saw it all in order, because when I watched the Seventh Doctor first, then I really watched a lot of the Fifth Doctor. And I watched the Sixth Doctor, and the Third, then the Fourth, the Second, and then the First. And so, watching it out of sequence was a unique experience, but watching it as it progressed was just fascinating, because it showed me things about the Doctor that I didn't think I would, understand. But I came to very simple conclusions as well. There's two different spectrums of a romanticized point of view of who the Doctor is, which I've noticed are oftentimes just highly exaggerated in the new series. And that is the fumbling, bohemian, I would say, traveler who just stumbles into trouble and does what's right. And this angelic, lost prince, sort of Santa Claus figure of the Doctor, where he just comes in and he always makes things right. He's a force of the universe. And, everybody says, oh, well, the Doctor's like a god. That's pretty much what Family of Blood's monologue was saying, But I would love to say that he is like that, but I don't think he's either of those. And I think the episode which pins it down the best is Twice Upon a Time. But before I get back to that, I want to make a brief comparison. The first Doctor in the first serial, An Unearthly Child, at one point, one of the cavemen that they're trying to help is wounded, and the Doctor wants to make a hasty escape, so he thinks about grabbing a stone and bashing in the caveman's head. And Ian Chesterton stops him, of course, but he thought about doing that, and a lot of people who would watch the show would say, is that the Doctor? The Doctor is always peaceful, he's always kind, he's always loving, and you're thinking, how much of a change did this guy have to go through in order to not do stuff like that? But I was watching the marathon, and I realized that the Seventh Doctor was practically no different in a few respects. Like, in The Curse of Fenric, he was very manipulative. He did not murder, per se, but he did, manipulate the Hemivore in order to turn on him and kill him. But in order to do that, he manipulated Ace by breaking her trust and faith in him completely. And I think that's where the God complex got that idea. But seeing the Doctor do something like this manipulative, this contrived, really shows at some points how detached from the situation he can really be. And it also shows how willing he is in order to do what's right, or to finish the job, I would say. The Seventh Doctor was very, very unique because, well, at the same time as he was the Doctor, as the Doctor always was, he was the Doctor taking action, tying up all of his old loose ends. There's that speech in Deep Breath where Capaldi's like, I've lived 2,000 years and made some mistakes. It's about time I did something about that. When he talked about that, he didn't really ever go back into that, And to be honest, that's just because it was a cool speech, and I understand. But that's more of what Seventh Doctor was. The Seventh Doctor was definitely far more intentional in everything that he did. Like, if you compare the Seventh Doctor to the Fourth Doctor, the Seventh Doctor and the Fourth Doctor are, at their core, the same. But the Seventh Doctor was far more long game. Well, the Fourth Doctor was like, I don't quite know what I'm doing. Oh, I'm incredibly stupid, Skagra. I'm incredibly stupid. Doing all this stuff that didn't really benefit him in any way. The Fourth Doctor, well, the Doctor does feel like he's gone on a journey. I'm going to digress a little more. At first, the Doctor was running. Then, he was exiled. And he found friends, and he stuck with them for a while, and he had a consistent life. There was something about him that he needed to keep going, because he just hadn't found this meaning to his life yet, even though he has been fulfilling it every single episode, but he just doesn't realize it yet. So he becomes a wandering bohemian, a renegade, so to say. He just thinks I think the Doctor thought it was poetic to do that. That's the only reason he really did it, was he just wandered around, and the Fourth Doctor really did nothing unless the Time Lords, grabbed him by the head and said, do this, do this small favor for us, like in Genesis of the Daleks, or the Invasion of Time, or, just pretty much any time that Gallifrey was involved. Or the Keeper of Traken, but that was just more of an act of kindness. I think near the end of the Fourth Doctor's run, he figured out who he was. He figured out that he was around to save people. And so, when the Fifth Doctor rolled around, he was so anxious, so intentional about, trying to save people. But he always got ahead of himself. And that was probably because of his body was so young and his brain was just so young. But he eventually found himself in the end. And he said, I can save civilizations. I can save so many different people. But what really matters is saving one person at a time. And that is what the Doctor discovered in the Caves of Androzani. That being one of the best episodes ever, because it really dissects what the Doctor's character is. The Sixth Doctor was a return to form. He thought, I might have discovered what I'm about, but that doesn't mean that I have to be all serious and the Sixth Doctor was melodramatic, but the Fifth Doctor was far more anxious, I think. And so he would become this Doctor who started to gain confidence, which would slowly turn into arrogance. And that's why the Seventh Doctor is the way he is. It's because the Seventh Doctor thought, I just realized that I'm perhaps one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and that I can change a lot for the better. And yes, while that's a good thing, it's also it's like walking on eggshells, because he had to be careful what he changed and what he didn't. And I think that there's something about the Seventh Doctor which pushed Ace away. I'm not sure why she left yet. Something like, I agree, the Time Lord Society thing does make sense for Ace, but at the same time, there's gotta be some reason her going against the Doctor. Those seeds were planted in Curse of Fenric, But I don't think that Ace left the Doctor because she was ripped away from him or anything. I think she left because she had enough of his attitude, And so then the Doctor had Rain and all of them. Oh no, he had Rain while Ace was on Gallifrey, I suppose. But I think there's a reason why the Seventh Doctor ended up alone in the TV movie. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm fairly sure it had something to do with him being too big for his britches. But ultimately, the Doctor, he has this sort of... He's like all of us. He has this temptation. The temptation is to finish the threat off quick. Kill. Just kill it. Just, deal with the situation the easiest way possible. But the Doctor doesn't do that. In Twice Upon a Time, the first Doctor says that he went into the universe to see why good conquers over evil. And Bill says, maybe it's just a bloke. When she says that, I really do think that, that's right. Because Doctor Who is really about kindness, and about how kindness can manifest itself through us. And we wonder, why does good prevail? It prevails because of us. It prevails because who we are. It prevails because of the choices we make. Because that first Doctor who tried to kill that caveman, in the time of the 10th planet, he wouldn't let anybody die. He had completely changed. Well, that's not necessarily a change, but just a realization. The Doctor realized that life is far more important, and that the sanctity of life and preserving all things good was worth the difficulty of not doing it the easy way. The Doctor, of course, thinks about doing it the easy way every time, but he doesn't. The Doctor is a choice. In extremis, the Doctor says, you don't have to be real to be the Doctor. You just have to never give up. Trick the enemies into their own traps. And that is one of the best lines of Doctor Who for me, because it makes me realize that the Doctor is partially an idea, but the Doctor is mostly an action. Being the Doctor is being the best hero you possibly can be, while still being true to yourself. And the reason I like Twice Upon a Time is the exact same reason that I like Caves of Androzani. Because it's about the Doctor saving one person. Purple Gilliam Brown in Caves of Androzani, and in Twice Upon a Time, it's Archibald Hamish Lethbridge Stewart. And at first I didn't like Twice Upon a Time because that it dealt with, no significant threat. And, it was just kind of like, this is his regeneration episode. But I realized how perfect it was, because Capaldi's whole arc was reevaluating everything about who he was in the past Doctors, and he realizes it doesn't matter. I'm not some man who's meant to stop the monsters. I'm a man who's supposed to save one person from the monsters. I'm supposed to save one person. And that's also how the 10th Doctor died. Come to think of it, that's also how the 9th Doctor died. And that's also how the 8th Doctor died. There's a pattern here. Each of the Doctors has a yearning for self-sacrifice. And that is what the Doctor is. The Doctor is the deepest form of love. And while it is the deepest form of love, it's shown in a very subtle way. Because there is a quote which finished off the classic series, which was recorded on the 26th anniversary of the show. Let's see. I want to look it up. Yes. It goes, there are worlds out there when the sky is burning, and the sea's asleep, and the rivers dream. People made of smoke, and cities made of song. Somewhere there's danger. Somewhere there's injustice. And somewhere else the tea's getting cold. Come on, Ace. We've got a lot of work to do. And when the Doctor says that, that perfectly sums up what the series is. It's just traveling about trying to save one person at a time. And that is the best message I could possibly get from Doctor Who. I'd like to thank Twitch for doing the marathon again and letting us enjoy such wonderful, wonderful television and such wonderful morals. And you say, I hope that everybody else enjoyed the marathon and that they enjoyed my ramblings.